Hey guys, what is going on, and welcome back to a brand new video. And in today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys some quick tips and tricks on how you guys can improve your guys' Fortnite game and of course reduce latency on the game. I've been testing a couple things out, and honestly, the testings are pretty surprising. Starters, what I genuinely like to do after an update is I like to go to app data, go to local, and then I like to go to Fortnite game, saved, config, Windows client, and then the game user settings. I usually delete them all three of these, a crash report, Windows. I usually delete all three of them at once. I don't ever crash personally, so like I don't know, I just delete them, right? That way, when you delete them, when you go back into Fortnite, you can configure your settings the way that you're supposed to. Then also, it's also because like when you have your files on like read only, for example, which by the way, Fortnite does disable mouse acceleration, so it shouldn't be really much of an issue, but that is one. Now, another thing that I like to do is that if you are on Windows, I believe H2, you can go to graphic settings right here. And then you can also go to browse, right? And then when you go to browse, you're going to have to locate your Fortnite game Win64 client, right? And then when you do that, you should be able to get this right here. It'll always be the one with the most data, right? You just select it and then add it. And then when you add it, you go to options and then you put it on high performance. What this will do for you is that it will increase the priority with your graphics card when you are playing Fortnite. So that will result in better delay and also more FPS. And then there is another thing. If you have this option, hardware accelerated GPU scaling, it says it reduces latency and improves performance. You'll need to restart your PC for these changes to take effect. From all my testings and from everybody that has used this option right here, it is dramatic. You will notice a difference right away. All right, from here on out, if you guys have done those two options, delete your game files. So what you're going to want to do after you delete your game files, you guys are going to want to go ahead here. You guys are going to want to go ahead here and open up the Fortnite game. All right, so what you are going to do from here on out is that once you enter the game, it's going to ask you, oh, do you want to configure these custom settings? You're going to click no, right? Once you do all that, you guys are going to want to go to settings, right? Yes, there's my stretched res. But nonetheless, you guys do want to play on full screen mode. Personally, FPS is a personal preference. If you have a really good PC that has been optimized and that can handle 900 FPS and up, or even go down to 800 and up, then I would highly suggest unlimited because it will reduce latency. That is a clear fact. More FPS does reduce latency, even though you can't see beyond, I believe, like 60. But at the end of the day, if you do have a 240 hertz or 144 hertz or 165 hertz, I do highly recommend just playing on those FPS. For my case, I will play on unlimited because I do get consistent FPS no matter what. Now here is the trickiest thing. This right here is something that it's all personal preference. But when we go down to the graphics settings right here, there is two new options, far and epic. So we've always had far and epic, you might be saying, but it is actually a lot different now. So the new epic is what far is now in this update. So last season, far was epic, but this new season, what it will do for you if you go to epic is that it will give you more of a console kind of Fortnite look. So if you ever played on console or ever saw any kind of console gameplay and wondered, well, I want my game to look like that, then all epic settings would make it look like that. If you want to put on high performance for what it was like last season, you just go ahead and put it on far, which is what that is now. So in my case, I would never touch these two. I would only be around near or medium. In my case, I will be playing on near, as there is legitimately. So after all that, all this right here on low. Originally, a lot of people would put textures on high, which would not be good in this season. So I'll go ahead and put that on low for the best performance, FPS, and latency. Go ahead and turn off VSync, motion blur. We don't play with that. FPS is personal preference, and then rendering mode is an option, and I will get into that in further detail in a bit. Now, allow multi-thread rendering. If you have an Intel CPU, I believe multi-thread rendering is not that good, considering Fortnite doesn't use all cores on your CPU. So if you have like a really good Intel processor, try playing with it off and see what you get, because Intel CPUs are stronger than Ryzen CPUs. And Fortnite is CPU based at the end of the day. So if you have a really strong Intel CPU and you play with this off, there's a possibility that you might notice that your game is not only faster and less delayed, but you'll also see an increase in FPS. So I would highly suggest playing with this if you are Intel. If you are Ryzen, keep it on, because our CPUs for single core usage is not as good. GPU debugging, all this will be off except for NVIDIA reflex latency. I will be getting into these two right here in just a second. So now when we go over here to rendering mode, there is two other options. There is DX11, 12, and Alpha, right? I'm on 11, so the other two options are these ones. But now, this is where things get tricky. Certain PCs, for some reason, because all parts are different, they all have different silicone lotteries in them. So it's a lot different. Some computers will perform better on 12 than they will with 11, and vice versa for performance mode. Now, originally, last season, performance mode was probably the best in terms of FPS, latency, everything, you name it. It was at its peak. And I do feel like in this season, they pretty much killed what performance mode was. In my opinion, when I switch over to performance mode, the game feels delayed, doesn't run good. Even though it says that I get another 100 more FPS than I do on 11, the game just does not feel good. It feels super slow. It doesn't feel consistent. I really don't know what it is. So I went back to D11 and I decided to turn on NVIDIA reflex latency. If anybody's wondering what that does, is that it essentially takes your system's latency and it takes the speed of your mouse and it like enhances it to like 0.5 milliseconds. So you'll be getting the fastest response time from your mouse. Now, this has always been the case when even last season, D11 had this over performance mode. So I don't really know why they don't add it to performance mode. It might make performance mode overall just run a lot better. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's personal preference. My PC, for example, I don't know what it is. Last season, it ran insanely good with the bubble wrap builds. Even after they took out bubble wrap builds, the game ran amazing with performance mode alpha. So I don't know what they did to it this season, but it just does not play out well. So I decided to go back to D11, and my game feels insanely good now. It feels like last season, but better. Yeah, I mean, so once you have those settings, I mean, in terms of if you do end up going to performance mode, try the mobile builds out. Those will actually give you better delay than the high meshes once again. So yeah, I mean, personally, I think the delay right now on D11 is better than any performance mode that's ever been out. So I think D11 might be the wave as of right now. All right, once you guys have configured all of those settings, right, you guys can now go ahead here, go to your search, go to program files, go to Epic. Go to Epic Games, Fortnite game, binaries, Win64. So now we're going to go back over to all of these files right here, these main four right here. We're going to right click on them, go to properties, compatibility, change settings for all users. And then this is the number one thing that I highly recommend doing, disabling all full screen optimizations, and then override high DPI scaling behavior and make it performed by the application. So then that way the application is giving you the true sensitivity and all that kind of stuff. So once you do all that, you're going to want to do that to the next three. And then from there on, that's pretty much it. If you guys do want to reduce latency even more and get better FPS, let me know down below if you guys want me to make a video on how to get stretched res, because I will make one if you guys don't. If you guys do want one. But yeah, that will be another option. Stretched res will give you better input delay in FPS because it is less pixels essentially. So yeah, let me know. Well, that's been it for today's video. I hope you guys did enjoy. If you guys did stop by for the first time, make sure to subscribe. I hope this video helped out. And if it did help out, make sure to leave a comment down below. on if it helped out or if it was beneficial in any type of way. And without further ado, it's been your boy Outcast Georgie, and I'll see you guys in the next video.